Welcome to another edition Out There Nomad. In this episode, I'm excited to share with you my new hiking choice tent, the Luxe Hiking Gear Hexpeak 2-person ultralight trekking pole tent. I'm really excited about this one, so let's go ahead and get out there. So let's go ahead and start breaking down the Luxe Hiking Gear Hexpeak 2-person tent. This tent, standalone by itself, just the tarp portion of it, comes in at $139. And it comes with a couple of different varieties of options, which I really liked about this tent. It's sort of versatile in that way. You could sort of gear it out to suit for your situation that you're going into. So it does offer an inner tent, a 1.5 person inner tent, which I believe the 0.5 is supposed to be either for a child or most likely your gear while you're by yourself. But the tent with the 1.5 inner is going to come in at about $189. And with a 2-person inner, it comes in at about $249. I only have the 1-person, the 1.5 person inner for this breakdown. I didn't get the 2-person inner, but it's really nice that they have that option for this tent. It also comes with another option of being able to get an actual wood stove for a tent this small. Is really cool, and I don't have that yet, but they do offer a sleeve that you can cut into the roof of this shelter and actually put a little wood stove in there, and I've seen people that are actually doing winter camping in this tent, so that's a really nice option that they offered there. So just a couple of specs on this real quick. It's a really simple design. It's made to set up with one trekking pole right up in the center, teepee style. And it's made out of, the outer portion of it is made out of ripstop nylon. I'm pretty sure that the inner portion is as well, but it's a little bit lighter grade of a ripstop nylon. It's also, with the way that it peaks across the top, it really helps to get the rain and keeps the wind down as things start to get nasty for you, and it's a really quick setup, which is one thing I really like about this. It also features 10 guy out points, so if it is particularly windy or really nasty out, stormy or anything like that, there is a lot of versatile options in order to be able to tie this thing out from all over the place. The weight for the tent comes in at 1.4 pounds, so just under 1.5 pounds, or 32 ounces. Ooh, flies are nasty. 32 ounces. And the inner tent itself weighs 1.3 pounds or 20.8 ounces. So all in all, the whole setup, as you can see, is about this big. It's coming in just under 3 pounds for the entire thing, which is it's right in the same ballpark as my Kelty freestanding tent was. But the thing I like about this is the versatility that you get in this package. And I ultimately, for my through hikes, I don't think I'm going to be taking the inner tent with me. I think I'm just going to be cowboy camping under the main shelter itself. So let's go ahead and pull this thing out real quick, and I'll show you what's in the bag. So right off the bat here, we'll pull out the inner tent, or sorry, this is the outer tent, the main tarp portion of the tent. This is down to the size of what I'll actually be taking with me on trail. I think underneath this, I can get it pretty close to the ground, and I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about bugs. Well, I will have to worry about bugs, but I think I'll be fine under just this shelter itself. One thing that the Luxe Hiking Gear company sends this tent with, which I really like, is this little Velcro strap here, which keeps everything really nice and tight so that you can actually get it back in there, and it's a nice small package. We unroll this. The only other portion of the gear, other than the inner tent, which is still in the bag, is this bag of stakes right here. And it actually comes with pretty decent quality stakes. Total of 6 of them. Yeah, so all in all, for the value, I think it's really there. The construction on it, from what I've seen so far, is really nice. It is not ripstop nylon, so you don't want to get it around too much heat or anything. But considering the fact that they sell a stove jack that goes with this tent, I think that you don't have to worry too much, obviously. So the inner tent is pretty much like it's a tent that goes inside the tent, sort of like this, and it just acts as a bug net. And we'll go ahead and just jump right into the setup on this. So far, there are things I like about this and there are things I don't like about it. It's really versatile, it's really light, and I get to sort of pick and choose the options that I'm taking with me. But I have found that because it's not a freestanding tent, that finding places to set it up can be an issue. I've been spending a lot of time on logging roads and going back down on logging roads. And the main issue with logging roads is the fact that it's packed in gravel. And packed in gravel is really hard to get stakes into, and if you can't sink your stakes, you could try to find some spots for the tie outs and whatnot, and you could do some anchoring and stuff like that to give yourself a little bit more options and versatility. But ultimately, if you can't stake down your tent, it's really, really hard to set up. So let's go ahead and head over to set this up. And as always, if you find these videos informational, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ding the bell notification, and give me a like. It really helps out the channel. Also, go ahead and check out OutThereNomad.com. Thank you for watching. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up this tent. And all it's gonna take is obviously the tent itself, my one trekking pole, and a trusty rock to get these stakes in the ground. So let's get into it. One of the things I've noticed when setting up this tent is there are, in the center for the Hexpeak portion of it, it actually has 4 points in a square that you want to try to get in the ground first. So underneath, as you roll this out, you'll see that there is a square made with these black support ribbons that go through the bottom portion of the tent. Now, as you lay this out, you'll see these 2 black strips coming down right here. Those are the 4 corners you're gonna wanna get to the ground first. So let's do that. We'll locate our door here, which is right here. I'm gonna have that facing towards the camera. So we'll position that correctly. You're gonna wanna make sure there's no debris on the ground, especially because it's a floorless tent. I like to do one side at a time. And that way I can get that side as tight as I can. And one thing I've noticed with this tent is you want these stakes to be as close to the body of the tent itself as you can, because it does have drawstrings to give you options for locations for setting your stakes, but it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room as far as how far the floor or the base of the tarp is from the ground. And on windy or stormy conditions, you really want that as close to the ground as you can get it, but on days like today, it's not such a big deal. There we go. Now, having these tie-outs straight across from each other is the best idea. That way you keep structure of the tent nice and tight. The last portion is you're gonna wanna take these 2 center pieces, one being the door on the opposite side for me now, and one being this rear, and go ahead and stake these down. Making sure those are nice and tight. One thing I have noticed is you wanna give yourself a little bit of wiggle room on this last one, and that way you can adjust the tension on the entire frame of the tent itself. We're gonna take out our trekking pole here. I noticed that if you have some of this already out, it makes it a little easier for you when you get in there to adjust for height and to get the whole teepee up. So we'll just open the door. And right on the inside here, I'll get you guys a closer up view of that, but there's a cup. There's a little tassel in here to hang the inner tent, and then reinforced fabric here to protect the peak when you put your pole up in the center. So one thing to keep in mind is to keep that little tassel out towards the rear where you're gonna wanna set up your inner tent. Okay, so now we have the general body of the tent set up. Readjust this and make our adjustments so that things are where they should be. Okay, and there you have it. So we'll go ahead and mount the inner tent now. I'm gonna use my GoPro here to sort of bring you in while I try to hook this up. Another thing I recommend doing is bringing your seat pad with you too, because you got to sort of crawl around on your knees a little bit while you're doing this. Just right here on the front with the logo. And then there's corners on this that we want to pull out to each one of the corners, respective corners of where it's going to be hooking into the tent body itself. We'll just start from this side. The first one is going to hook down into the corner like this. So you're going to take this little hook and we're going to go all the way down to the base of this guy line right here and hook it up. Let's see if I can get at least somewhat of a shot of that. So we go all the way down here and we hook it up. Now the cool setup on this is the way that they have this inner tent set up is it acts like a bathtub and it gives you drawstring capabilities there to tighten it as you need it. So let's get all the rest of these set up. Honestly, the inner tent's nice, especially for like really buggy areas. If you're dealing with a lot of flies or mosquitoes or something like that, I can see how this inner tent would be really nice. Personally, I don't think I'm gonna be using it a lot while I'm through hiking. I think I may end up regretting that decision, but what I'm thinking about doing is actually switching this inner tent out for just a bug net that you throw over things. And then I can actually make my own little tie outs on the just drooping bug net and set up my bed on the ground, and if there's really big bugs I can hook that up, and I think I can actually drop some weight that way. Let's go ahead and come on in here so you guys can see exactly how heavy this, or how much room there is inside this thing. So as you can see, I got plenty of room to lay down. This bug net sort of hangs down in front of my face. I could attach another carabiner up into the top corner right here, and obviously that would make this a little bit better. But honestly, there's more than enough room for me and some of my kit down on the sides over here. There's plenty of room going back off to this side and going down the length of my body. I'm not actually touching the edges of the tent anywhere. And one thing I did want to mention is the fact that Luxe on their website actually mentions that this tent is not meant for people that are over 6 feet tall. And I am 6'2", and they do sell a Hexpeak Ultralight trekking pole tent that is an extra large. But being a thru hiker, I thought I could shave ounces by just doing it this way. And honestly, I'm satisfied with what I got. Again, it's not as roomy as it could have been, but I am saving that weight. And honestly, I think that in the end, this works out for me. But consider, if you are considering buying one of these tents, that if you are over 6 foot tall and ounces don't really matter to you, that the extra large Hexpeak 2-person trekking pole tent might be a better way for you to go. So all in conclusion, I really do like the switch over to this tent. I think it's going to be a little bit more versatile for me in my situation with thru hiking. I don't think I'm going to be using it for base camping or any of those types of projects. I am going to be using this tent exclusively for hikes, specifically for my thru hikes. I think that's one avenue I'm going to be going, is I'm going to be putting together a kit specifically for thru hiking, and then a different kit for bushcraft, base camping, those types of trips. So I do recommend this for people that are used to not freestanding shelters, and being able to guide things out, and to be able to deal with the little subtle issues you'll come up with a tent that's this type of style. But all in all, I am very satisfied with Luxe, and they have a couple of other tents that I'm excited about trying out in the future. They have some really, really big, beautiful teepee tents that come with wood stoves. I'm thinking that'd be awesome for some travel and winter camping, which would be really, really nice. So all in all, I think thumbs up on this one. I think if you're interested in something like this, definitely check out Luxe hiking gear. Another thing I wanted to mention is I am not sponsored. None of my videos are sponsored. This is completely on how I feel about this tent. So yeah, take that as you will. Take care, everyone, and don't forget to get out there.